Now let's see what I should be rapping about for myself. If I won't be rapping for myself, who is supposed to be any kind of rap for myself for? Because I'm not trying to rap for anybody else at the same time. I'm trying to like divine it possible for myself because I'm not kind of indebted to anybody else. I'm not trying to make sure that I could be letting everybody else to say that I could be telling some kind of a shit about myself when I could be getting myself being kind of like driven off my feet because I could be like letting off myself to make sure that my focus on myself say to say that I could be not girl say this kind of word myself, say of myself, kind of compose, some kind of like compunction, some kind of belief, some kind of remorse, or same kind of way to say that I could be like saying myself for the same kind of time, not look out the same kind of my way to say that I could be like self behold by myself, kind of a rhyme for my children, I could be not rapping for myself, I could be rapping for anybody else, no kind of a time. No brother activity giving me any kind of activity for myself because my activity is not comfortable activitized by anybody else because I'm not comfortable actively driven for anybody else. That's all try to make sure that I can be present in my own self for myself for the same kind of a time because I can be not all self present in myself in me because I could be like being kind of present for everybody else because that's all I'm trying to make sure I could be getting myself being kind of at anybody else's kind of like this kind of a group because I'm not kind of a group enough for anybody. I'm trying to get myself like not at all being kind of trying for anybody else because I'm not trying to get myself for myself to me because at the same time if I were trying to get myself for myself at the same kind of a time or the same form of a time I could be letting myself being not at all being able to present myself in proper way for this say that I could be not at all being able to do any kind of rapping rhyme or any form of rapping rhyme. Am I rapping rhyme not at all being part of my say because I'm not willing to say that I could be like getting myself being kind of a scene so some kind of feelings with my rapping ability. I need to have it to be like getting any idea from anybody else and spoken in English is some kind of like a first vision so kind of effusive it says because I'm not going to like effusive by myself because I'm not going to like for the finite self for myself I'm not going to like finely driven for myself because I'm not going to widely for myself the same kind of a time or same format of a time for myself to be saved by myself because this is kind of an envy stage because I'm not willing to let so that I can be like seeking myself being kind of a seeking effect for my own kind of like stratification some kind of stride itself because I'm not kind of like getting myself become somatic for myself not heavily differentiated for myself kind of like non-somatic towards myself kind of one at the same kind of ways so as to make sure that I could be having getting myself like I could be getting some sort of base because I'm not looking for bass driven anybody says because I'm trying to getting no say no runner again and again there has to be said again repetition made because I'm not looking for repetition myself being self kind of like thing because I'm not looking for like enjoying the party at the same kind of a time because I could be letting everybody else to getting themselves being kind of a say that I could be not at all taking myself being kind of like say that I could be like talking some kind of a shit that won't be making any kind of a consent for myself because I'm looking for like trying to like convict this invective I'm kind of like say that I could be like getting some kind of a like say to say that I could be not again trying to get myself being careful again getting myself being encrypted by anybody else because I'm not trying to get myself become for enlarged myself kind of want because I'm not looking for inversion some kind of a convergence some kind of divergence or some kind of a time either way the possibility because I'm not looking for junction not looking for point not any kind of like origin not looking for pop-up not any kind of like entity because I'm not suppose it is supposed to be some kind of a like conformity not any kind of a deformity rather any form of a like affirmity not looking for conformity not some kind of a like genuinity not any kind of like ingenuity or not because I have to be getting myself be careful like getting myself like completely driven across any kind of notion and part of my kind of self conservative because I'm not kind of conservative for myself because I'm trying to getting everybody else to like themselves being kind of like do whatever they could be asking for themselves not a part of anybody just kind of a concern for myself kind of a concern making because this is not really eternity by my side I could be like eternally driven for everybody else this is not really any kind of rapping myself because I could be rapping any kind of rapping right still making no kind of a progress with myself because I'm looking for progress for driven to everybody else because my progress being kind of like not at all a part of everybody else's kind of success which what is need to be having to be done is like I'm looking for wishing for everybody else's kind of any way of other kind of a glorification other kind of a stratification other kind of a divergence other kind of a like downfall whatever kind of a say because I'm not looking wishing for myself because they have taken any better part of myself under their control and not looking at everybody else to take any sort of a like ounce of myself from myself for betterment or maybe any kind of a betterment or any kind of like abhorrence for myself at the same kind of a town or some kind of a like loathsome for myself says because I'm saying that they could be having to be not at all saying what I'm supposed to say for myself I'm not at all trying to getting everybody else to say that they could be wishing themselves for because I'm trying to getting themselves being kind of wished for this kind of a thing and I could be letting everybody else to not at all being like could be taking some kind of a latent or kind of a like latent hate from myself off of me because something that has to be done for myself is not at all any kind of a thing that has to be done for everybody else, and everybody else doing some kind of a thing for themselves, not at some kind of a thing, the same thing that is being done for myself at the same kind of a pace, or maybe same pace, either whatever way I could be saying, because that will be making any sense for myself either, though not, because I'm trying to say sense that is out of all is not at all sense for myself, because you have to be listening to me in a proper way. Other than that, I can't be able to like repetition love, because I'm doing myself being repeating again myself for again and again to make sure that I can be like conveying the same result, conveying the same meanings, conveying the same sentences that has been already spoken and been said, just to take myself into some kind of a this, what do you say, this conference, or this kind of a connotation, or this kind of a like conservation, or this kind of a like getting myself become a contained or concern, or taking myself into some kind of a consideration that has to be done for myself, for I'm not kind of a being considered for anybody else, because I have been so like be considering myself for being kind of a considered to myself, worth for myself to me, haven't been considering myself for being kind of a considerable for anybody else, including my own self for myself to me, because I'm everybody else and not, still I'm trying to consider myself as some kind of a like entity and not, but some kind of a like acerbic for everybody else, because I'm not kind of acerbic to myself and not, maybe I could be acerbic for everybody else. That's why people are trying to get myself away from themselves. That is a part of my own kind of strategy and my self kind of like self, say my own way to keep myself away from everybody else, or some kind of my sales strategy, or maybe some kind of a way that is kind of a closely related to this kind of a word, that is kind of like letting myself being kind of a say that I could be not a part of anybody else's kind of a plan or anybody else's kind of a concern. I have to make myself like completely seclusive or reclusive, completely aloof, solitary for everybody else, because had been so that I could be part of everybody else's kind of a like way. I could be very worldly driven towards some kind of a days or some kind of a says. I'm not really trying, I'm not really willing to make sure that I could be getting myself being kind of a completely like getting myself off the track, because I could be getting myself away as some form of bullet has on being kind of already being shot. I could be a bullet that has been already shot, I could be being able to take back into the gun again. So this is my way to say that I could be coming across being kind of left by myself, not being able to take back the bullet back to the gun, so I'm not at all being kind of reusable for anybody else, or whatever was scope was there to using myself for me against me have been already used for myself by me, by anybody else, maybe by myself. But that's why I'm trying to make sure that I could be letting everybody else to go forward prostrate on their face, because I'm not at all trying to get myself being into any kind of a waste for anybody else, because I'm not at all trying to myself, or my superficial, or maybe some kind of a mind deep beneath, or maybe my much more abysmal thing that is kind of letting myself being kind of driven to the chasm, or driven towards the Georgia, or maybe whatever I say, that could be getting myself introverted towards the deep, so as to let on everybody else to make sure that I could be not at all saying that what I could be having, getting myself being kind of talked about, or speaking to myself, so as to make sure that I will be making any kind of like activity or any kind of like activization from my own self to my own self for same kind of a time word has to be said again.